Oh, jeez. England convincingly defeated at home by Senegal. It's only a friendly, but my word, this is not looking good, Brev. I must say. Actually, despite losing 3-1 at home, I don't feel as bad as I did when watching the Andorra game, which we won, because Andorra, who we beat 1-0, are the 173rd ranked team in the FIFA rankings. So there are 172 teams better than them. But Senegal are a good team. Yeah, they're 19th ranked. So if we're doing this in like divisions, they'd be in a top league, in a top 20 league, they'd be 19th, and England would be like 4th or whatever. But that's why I was fuming about the Andorra, because like we are literally 169 places above Andorra. I know we won and we got the 3 points, but I just thought it was miserable and it made me feel miserable. And I didn't know. I know a lot of people who watch this channel won't be England fans. I'm obviously an England fan, and seeing people like Henderson in the midfield in a competitive game really annoyed me. I love Thomas. I'm a Chelsea fan. I love Thomas Tuchel, but I am worried because he's had 5 games, and you could be like, "Oh, that's not many games, yeah." But like, this is what he's been brought in for, to be Mr. Instant Impact with what is a really good roster of players. Now we're gonna look at the game. We're gonna get into the game because it was interesting. And then maybe I'll bring it home and talk about it afterwards. But thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Football Yannick. Daily content over on this YouTube channel and multiple pieces of content in days like these. Mother told me there'll be days like these. Hopefully there's not many more days like this. So thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. We are nearing 18,000 subscribers, which I'm very grateful for. So thanks for that, guys. Yeah, okay. So Senegal haven't beaten European opposition. And Europe's got a lot of FIFA teams. They haven't beaten European competition opposition in 7 years. Now, feel free to correct me if this is wrong, because I watched this on ITV, yeah? And I heard this from the ITV commentary, and I don't know whether to believe it, because it sounds sensational. But apparently, this Senegal team in this friendly are the first African side to beat England. That seems mental. The first African side to beat England. That cannot be true. There's loads of good African sides, and we would have played hard. I'm going to Google this. Oh my God. It's actually true. There's only been 16 games, though. But that doesn't seem like many, but that's wild. So Senegal's the first African team to beat England, and it's a good roster of English players. I'm going to be very mindful. This is not a Thomas Tuchel hit piece, because I know loads of Chelsea fans follow this channel, and they just seem to get really angry at me for criticising Tuchel because of like the sentiments. I do worry. Obviously, I was delighted when he's appointed. I think he's an amazing tournament coach, and these aren't tournament games. But I am concerned because in the 5 games he's had coaching England, I haven't actually seen anything that I particularly like or understand what he's doing, like what his plan is. Now, I understand also there's this, well, it's experimentation, it's experimenting, but you don't have, like, when do we see good stuff? How many games in? Because there are some selections. And again, it's a friendly. But the thing is, if he talks, Thomas Tuchel, like, every minute matters, every game matters, because, you know, why bother, like, you know, investing in young players if he's only here for 18 months to win the World Cup? That's why he's calling in Henderson. That's why he's playing Walker. That's why he's calling up, Tony, who's nearly 30 from the Saudi league, because he's like, I want these senior good players now. I mean, I disagree with all of those selections personally, but what do I know? Tuchel is an amazing coach, so I'm just sort of going with it. But I gotta say, like, if this was Southgate, he would be getting crucified, man. Like, not the Andorra 1-0, it would be, you know, there would have been like all over the back. I mean, there will be all over the back pages because there's horrible xenophobia towards Tuchel, and it's ridiculous. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, if we lost this game on the Southgate was a big target towards the end, and people like me were like, you know, criticizing him as well. So look, firstly, let's have a look at this on SofaScore. Here we go. England lose 3-1 at home. Harry Kane scored the opener in the 7th minute. We thought, there we go. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And then it wasn't. They score 3 goals without reply, and they have a lovely time. As you can see here, on the left-hand side of your screen, the attacking momentum meter on SofaScore, pretty evenly distributed, actually, down the middle. But look, Senegal have got a good team, bro. They do. So we played a pretty serious team. Yeah? A pretty serious team. Henderson in goal. He's just won the FA Cup. He's a good goalkeeper. A lot of people shouts for him to be England's number 1, or at least challenge Pickford. The Chelsea boys, Chalobah and Colwill, this has been our first choice, as I'm talking as a Chelsea fan, Chelsea's first choice centre-back partnership for the big games. Lewis Skelly, you know, great player, young player at Arsenal. You know, I'm very mindful not to criticise him because he's still very, very young and he's been thrown into it. Kyle Walker, I don't know what he's doing there, personally. Play Reece James or whatever. Maybe it's a red zoning thing with Reece James and protecting him, which in case fine. But to play Anthony Gordon, which is many people's preferred left-sided forward for certainly what they wanted in the last tournament or recent games and competitive games. Declan Rice, an amazing midfielder. Conor Gallagher, an excellent midfielder. And then Bukayo Saka, you know, Arsenal's best attacker. Harry Kane and Eze. And Eze's got the streets at the moment. Everyone loves Eze. So it's a very good England roster. We saw great players off the bench. We'll talk about the disallowed goal and stuff like that. Tony, Madueke, Bellingham, Rodgers, Jones, and Gibbs-White. That is an incredible rotation of talent to bring off the bench. Now, let's give Senegal their flowers because they do have a good roster as well. Of course, they've got Champions League winner Edouard Mendy and AFCON winner. Of course, well, Senegal AFCON winners. Koulibaly, who, you know, like Mendy, is playing. Chelsea sold both of them to Saudi Arabia. You've played well. The good midfield, Diarra, Gay, Kamara. And Diaye, of course, he's an excellent player. Ismail Assar, really, really good player. Of course, like shining in the Premier League now for Palace. And of course, Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson, who is a very good forward, presses really well, causes a lot of problems. As you can see here on SofaScore, got a higher rating than England's captain, Harry Kane. And yes, Sabali off the bench scored a goal. They only had 3 subs, only needed 3, and they dismantled England. I mean, look, let's talk about this. All right, so 3 big chances apiece. They had more shots than England, forcing more saves from Dean Henderson. They had 11 shots, of which 9 were on target. England only had 4 on target, more than double shots on target than England. In many ways, they were just such deserved winners. Senegal. Let's walk you through the timeline then, shall we? Harry Kane scores in the 7th minute. I think it's good work from Eze, then Gallagher, then Harry Kane essentially sweeps up in the box and sticks it away. It's worth mentioning as well, Senegal hadn't conceded for 650 plus minutes or something. I don't remember the exact figure. Maybe it was more than that, close to 700. They've got a really good defence. They're known for their defence, but they stick 3 goals past us in England away from home. So yes, it was good at that moment. We know they were really motivated to beat England, of course, first African team to try and to do it. And we scored in the 7th minute against a very good defence. So naturally, as an England fan, I'm feeling positive. We're going to do this. But towards the end of the first half, Nicholas Jackson executes an excellent assist, actually. He's so close to being brilliant, Jackson. He's only 23. I reckon by the time he's like mid-20s, he could be really good. That's why, from a Chelsea fan's perspective, I'm so mindful if we sell him, because I think he might just suddenly click and become that like Alexander Isak level of, really helpful forward that presses well, that combines well, that scores goals. Ismail Sarr scoring the equaliser. Start the second half. Not much happens. We saw three, as in like from England. We see three substitutions. Kane comes off, Gallagher comes off, Gordon comes off, Gibbs White, Curtis Jones, and Rodgers, all fine players in their own right. And then Diarra, being assisted by Koulibaly, scores the goal in the 62nd minute. That puts them ahead, and then they make a couple of changes themselves. Tuchel is at this point thinking, right, we're losing. People were miserable after the Andorra game. Let's just try and cook here and do something. So he brings on Noni Madueke. He was man of the match and the only bright spark for me against Andorra. And he brings on Jude Bellingham, who is Mr. Clutch in the 71st minute. And of course, Jude Bellingham scores what looks like his classic goal in the 85th minute. And it's that kind of like where we've seen it before under Southgate, right? England not playing well. Let's be real. In the last tournament, we stank our way to a final under Southgate. And that's when we knew it was like, because we'd done so well at tournaments under Southgate, it was like muscle memory getting there. But we had a pretty easy route and we didn't play great football. But we had moments from like Bellingham, like clutch goals and overhead kicks. And he is a Galactico, isn't he, Jude Bellingham? Like, he scores in big moments. You've just always got to have him in for big games, because he will come up good in big moments. He doesn't he sort of breaks through that feeling sorry for yourself narrative when the team's down and out. He doesn't sort of like fit into the, we're all failing miserably. He just like, bun this, I'm going to, score a worldie. It wasn't a worldie, it was a good goal. And then VAR cancelled. So this would have made it 2-2, and I think we genuinely would have possibly gone on to win, or certainly not lose. I don't think they would have scored again in this game state. And so the referee, she gets called over to the monitor, and it's not handball by Bellingham, which the initial replays on the broadcast were kind of suggesting, because it was obvious it wasn't, but it was the action before. Levi Cole was jumping with a defender, and I must say I think it's harsh. I do think it's harsh. The idea is that he's looking at the ball and he sort of turns his body towards it, and it sort of hits, just under his shoulder, which of course is a handball zone, and he's doing an action towards the ball. I understand what they're suggesting, but I still think it's harsh. But yeah, it was a VAR. They said, look, we think he's moving his arm towards the ball. What do you think? She goes and looks at it and says, yeah, I think so too. Let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I'm just being a biased England fan, but I think it was harsh. Ivan Toney, bless him, finally gets his chance to get some England minutes. I say bless him, he's taking the bag in Saudi. He's lucky to even be here. Miles Lewis Skelly comes off for Toney. He does look good in flashes. And then on the break, in the 93rd minute in stoppage time, Sabali scores the goal to seal the deal for Senegal, first African team to beat England. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, congratulations to Senegal. Good team. They obviously wanted it. They came out really, really having a crack at it. They played well. England didn't. And it's been a pretty miserable international break as an England fan. It's been a long season. Players are tired. We're down, but we're not out. I just need to see Tuchel start doing something, like a recurring theme of a footballing idea to utilise what is good English talent to win the World Cup. Because that's what this team's good enough to win the World Cup. The players are good enough to win the World Cup. They have been now for a little while. Kane's still in his prime. Bellingham's getting better and older. Palmer's getting better and older. You got players like Eze. Just go through that. Players we just saw, plus others. They can absolutely win the World Cup. That's what he's been brought in to do. I haven't seen anything yet to believe that. It's early days, of course. Keep the faith, etc. But glad England's over. Let me know your thoughts, though. Please do comment down below. Let me know your feelings, what you see, what you believe is going to happen. As always, thanks for the support. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And, congratulations to Senegal. It was a big occasion to them, and they are deserved winners. All right, see you later. Peace.